Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I cannot believe we are almost halfway through the year, you guys. June is coming to a close so fast, which means that I'm gearing up to pick my July reads. And as you can see by the title of this video, I decided to do what I'm gonna call trim the TBR. So my goal is to dwindle down my physical TBR to a reasonable amount. So I have here my fishbowl. This is what I'm going to be using to pick my reads. Funny background story on this. There's a restaurant that I used to frequent in my youth. They used to have, or they still have, I believe, what they call fishbowl Fridays, where you can get like an alcoholic beverage in one of these fish bowls. And my friends and I at the time had a goal of keeping one of these as a keepsake. So this is mine and I'm going to be using this as my TBR jar. So I have lined paper in here as well as non-lined. So basically I'm going to pick a lined one first, and that's going to tell me how many books I need to read off of my physical TBR. And then we will pick the non-lined papers, which are like prompts to narrow down which book specifically I'm going to read. So the prompts are very generic because I'm a mood reader, so I kind of wanted to leave a lot of room for choice still. There are a couple that don't leave a lot of room for choice, but for the most part, they're pretty ambiguous prompts. For the number of books we're going to read, I generally read on average 8 to 12 books a month, 12 being on the higher end. So I did 1 through 10 for physical TBR. That way, even if I do pick 10, that's still a good number. But if I exceed that with other books that I want to read or from the library, that's fine as well. So 1 through 10. So let's get started. Okay, so we're going to pick the number of books that we're going to read off of our physical TBR for July. So here we go. Give it a shake. Three. I don't know if you can see that. All right, so this means that I need to pick 3 books off of my physical TBR to read for July. Okay, so now that we've pulled that, we know how many books we're reading, I'm gonna go through and pick the prompts for those 3 books. And I don't have like a TBR card or anything, so I'm gonna go through all 3 prompts first, and then I'll pick my selections and we'll come back and go through everything. So let's do the first prompt. And the first prompt is fiction. So just a fiction book. Like I said, they're really generic, but yeah. So I will pick a fiction as my first choice. Second prompt. Oldest book on TBR. So I'm gonna have to go on my Goodreads and see what the oldest book I have on there that's also in my physical TBR. So let's go through and do that really quick. Okay, let's go into my Goodreads. All right, so the oldest book on my TBR right now is Paradise Lost. I don't own that one, however, but I do own 1984 by George Orwell. So that will be the book for this prompt. Okay, 2 down, 1 more to go. So let's do our third and final prompt. A couple of these came unfolded, so give me 1 second. I'm just gonna correct those. Over 300 pages. Okay, I feel like the majority of my books are over 300 pages, so yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go take a look at my shelves and pick books. Well, we already know what the second book will be for the second prompt, but I'm gonna go grab the other 2 and I will come back and we can reconvene and go through the books. Okay guys, I have my 3 books for the 3 prompts, so let's review what we chose. So the first prompt was a fiction book, and for this prompt I chose It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover. I just feel like I want to complete the series. It also feels very summer coded, so I feel like this will be a good book to get read in July. So this is my first pick for my July TBR. The second prompt was the oldest book on your TBR. So I went through my Goodreads and it turned out to be 1984 by George Orwell. So we are going to get this read in the month of July. And the third and final prompt was a book that's over 300 pages. But I ended up picking The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. And this is 358 pages. So it fits the prompt, and I've been wanting to read this for a while, so it seems like July will be the month. So 3 is not a lot. Hopefully I will be able to get more cleared off my physical TBR, but I kind of just like this challenge because it motivates me to read specific books, or at least a certain amount every month. So I think I'm going to continue with this TBR trim idea. Plus, I really like the word trim. You know, it doesn't feel like there's so much pressure. So I think I'm going to go with the term trim, TBR trim. I think that's what sounds good to me. So if you have any other suggestions for what we could call this, let me know. And I like this because I'm a mood reader, so it gives me a lot of room to still choose books that I want to read without too much pressure, but it's just enough motivation to get, like I said, certain books read. So, but that was it for our July TBR. I will come back at the end of July, and hopefully I will report that all 3 of these books have been read. So I hope you guys are doing really well, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.